The issue is that I think a lot of patients don't know the information, and there are not, I would say, facilities that are there ready to guide them through that process. And so unfortunately, lack of knowledge in some cases cause their mindset to say no to a system that they're not aware of. I think once we have that conversation, I think patient education is one of the major things that we need to do across Jamaica to pull people to have a better understanding of what takes place.
Hi, my name is Primrose Granville, and welcome to the Primrose Files. This is the first documentary talking about health perspectives. I'm Jamaican. I grew up in Jamaica, and I am surprised about a lot of the feedback from people of Jamaican and Caribbean heritage around a lot of things medically in the last 2 years. I'm not used to the narrative that I've been hearing here in the UK, and I've been thinking to myself, this is not the world I grew up in. I remember as a youngster getting my vaccinations or inoculations as they were called then. I don't remember any kind of backlash or demands for this or demands for that. I just don't remember the narrative that I have become accustomed to in the last 2 years. So I decided I wanted to have conversations with people who live in Jamaica, people from all walks of life, on their attitudes to medical intervention, research and data, COVID, the vaccine, and anything else relating to health. I've got a variety of people here. Some of them are humorous, some of them are serious, but all of them are real people with real opinions, real feelings, and real perspectives. Here we go. One of the most enjoyable things about filming for the Primrose Files is that I got to speak to people about themselves. I love people's stories. I love to hear what people think about anything. So I got to speak to people about their health.
My name is Sherry Ann Small. I am the Senior Manager for the Caribbean Institute for Health Research, a premier institute of the University Centre, University of the West Indies. We have 4 units, 3 on the Mona campus and 1 on the Caville campus in Barbados. Now, the institute is a product of an original unit or department called the Tropical Metabolism Research Unit, which is almost as old as the university. And the sickle cell unit is also pretty old, and in 1991 we came together as one department, one institute called, at the time, Tropical Medicine Research Institute.
So I am Dr. Camille Wilson-Clark. I am a clinical pharmacist by profession. I'm also a lecturer, and I'm also the program director for the Doctor of Pharmacy program at the University of the West Indies Mona campus.
The Sickle Cell Clinic provides services for sickle cell patients. We understand them, we understand their disease, we do research that benefits them, and so they come to us.
So this is a clinical trial research lab, and our major function, I would say, is to provide services to Caribbean Institute of Health Research and other institutions who want us to do any form of filling of drugs that are not normally on the market, or some of them are on the market. It could be that it's a new moiety or a new drug that they're going to test on patients who have certain disease conditions. For example, sickle cell anemia is one of the major ones we do here. So we actually have had 4 so far clinical trials that focuses on sickle cell disease.
When Tariq was born, he was premature. And well, he spent about a month and a half in the hospital. Okay, he was born the 31st of October 2009. He was in the incubator for around 3.5 weeks. And then he got released from the hospital. When he came home, he was being good and everything. until after I started to notice some difference with him. I think when he was about 1 year going up, like he used to cry a lot, and then sometimes I don't know what to do, so I took him to the hospital and I spoke to the doctors, and they said they're gonna run some tests. And when they run all the tests now, they found out he has sickle cell.
We're known regionally that if you want help for sickle cell, with sickle cell in the Caribbean, you come to CARE. You come to the sickle cell unit at CARE. So we have established a name, and even though some persons may not necessarily know how to articulate what it is we do, they know it's important and it's effective.
I feel great. I feel really great, and they really give me the drive to push ahead and go forward with them. From CARE, they always encouraging me to do what I can for him, and they always telling me, I'm gonna check about this school, I'm gonna do that for you. When you come back at the next appointment, I will tell you what to do, and they always give me the information, and when I go and check about it, then maybe sometime they will say he's too old for that school. They're always looking out for me with him to do something.
People are often secretive about what's going on in their bodies. Nobody wants to tell you what's really wrong with them, unless you're a doctor or some kind of medical professional. I'm not. I'm just an ordinary person trying to find out how they feel about health. And they shared with me openly their health conditions.
Well, my name is Nancy Del Rita Pinnock. I live in Jamaica, parish of St. Thomas, district of Spring Garden, section of Staunton Road.
My name is Ava Francis. Some people say Ava, but Ava, A-V-A, Ava Francis. I'm living in Spring Garden, St. Thomas.
I'm diabetic, hypertensive, and I have cholesterol problem also.
I was diagnosed with lupus over 20 years. I was in a small island called Antigua, and I got sick over there. And they were treating me for lung cancer. My friend get in touch with the university down here and telling the condition, because I was getting worse instead of getting better. So they called down there and, informed them what has happened to me. So they said to send me down. So I came down straight into university. When I came, they gave me a letter over Antigua. They gave me a letter and said that, explaining what they were treating me for. So when I came, the doctor said to me, open your mouth. So I opened my mouth. And she said, you don't have any lung cancer. And she read the letter. She said, you don't have any lung cancer. So they said, okay, we're going to admit you. And they did admit me. They take off a piece of the skin off my foot and they send it to test. And after they send it to test, they found out that I have this disease named lupus. It's the first I'm hearing that name, lupus.
Yes, the treatment I get here in Jamaica, I go to the clinic every 4 months, and the doctor check me, prescribe my medication, and I collect medication for the 4 months till it comes my clinic day again. I had medication for heart, I have for diabetes, 2, 1 for pressure. And the other day I noticed I was having a swelling of the lip. I had was to go to the doctor, and then the doctor said it was the medication I was taking for pressure, it was the wrong one. So they changed it and gave me another one. Well, from I'm taking that one, I don't really find that swelling thing again.
I spoke to one gentleman who's beaten cancer 5 times. And then I spoke to his brother and sister. They have recovered from cancer, but they won't even use the word to describe what their condition is.
Henry Brown, aka Chef, born and raised in Jamaica, Clarendon. And I've been living in the United Kingdom, Bristol to be specific, for the past 22 years. I am a head chef by profession and I run a catering company.
My name is Devon Brown. I'm born in a Pennant, Clarendon. Do farming, from me a boy, they put me out of farming. Through that, I don't do much schooling. Back a cow all the day of my life. Raise cow and goat.
I am Veronica Barnes, now living in Dank Savoy, Pennant, PA, which is in the parish of Clarendon, Jamaica. Well, right now, yeah, it's, I would say, memory problem, you know. It comes and goes. And in the past now I had a surgery because I don't remember what they called, but monthly flow was too heavy and I was losing too much blood. So then I had to do a surgery.
What kind of surgery did you have? What did they do?
Hysterectomy. I have a complete hysterectomy.
The reason why I'm a part of this is because my family have a long history of health issues, and in particular myself is a living testimony. The unfortunate situation is that some families have high percentage of cancer rate, and my family is one of them. I am one of the surviving persons who is in remission at the moment. I'm aware of the fact that my older brother and sister has done their interview. I think I'm a bit more outspoken, and there are certain words that, you know, probably some people are afraid to use. I have no issue of saying I am someone who has been diagnosed with cancer, have done 5 surgeries and 6 courses of chemotherapy, and in remission at the moment.
Do people in the Caribbean trust their doctors? If we were to listen to the narrative we hear largely in the UK, we wouldn't think they did. But that is not what I found out when I was talking to people in Jamaica.
To be honest, because the doctors are men whom the Lord have to do that work. Not everybody could be a doctor. Although man is failure, there are times when they make mistakes. But I trust the Lord, like I say, to direct them what to do to me. And then I ask questions, yes. I ask them what this is for, why am I taking it, and stuff like that.
The first when I used to take him, I did have a trust with them, but getting down to the end and not hearing anything much, I just thought to 50-50, understand? Then I'm still going on, but my biggest trust is in God.
My treatment was good because they gave me some medication. I'm taking prednisone, I'm taking chloroquine, and I'm taking, because I have high blood pressure, and I'm taking the enalapril. So it was good, very satisfying.
At first I think about it, but then it was so much for me to deal with. So that's when they said, you know, it's best to have a surgery to get rid of the whole thing. And I didn't doubt it or anything. I just go ahead and let them do it because it makes me feel much more comfortable, because it was way too much to bear, to cope with it.
Well, I was first diagnosed, funny enough, in Bristol. When I was 27 years old, I noticed I started to feel unwell, start to lose weight, and have significant amount of uncontrollable pain, especially headaches, and going nauseous all the time. And I had a swelling start to perk up on my neck, just beneath the chin. And had some blood tests and some scan done. And while I was waiting for the result, I just collapsed at work one day and was taken into A&E. And so everything got speed up. And short of it all is that they did the first biopsy and sent it off to test, and that came back that it was positive for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, otherwise called lymphatic cancer. And so they had us to remove the entire tumor. But while I was recovering from that surgery, they did a full brain scan and realized that I also have 2 tumors on the brain. So instead of leaving hospital, they reschedule another surgery, which they go behind the ear and go up and remove those 2 tumors. And before I leave hospital, I started chemotherapy, and that's how serious it was.
The treatment in England is far different from Jamaica. Whenever you go to the clinic in England, you get appointment for certain hour, and you are attended to for that hour. The hour, if it's for 1 or for 12, you get attention for that hour. In Jamaica, you have to go to the hospital, to the clinic from 8 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes you don't come back home until 5 because the time is not scheduled.
When I started going to the sickle cell unit with them, and number one, they always looking at his condition. He cannot talk, he cannot see, and all those stuff. And for him to come, don't look like the worst or anything, they always give me credit for that. Because many parents would left this child on the streets or in the hospital or something, which I did not. So they always giving me the credit, so that give me the courage to push more with him.
I think we have good doctors in Jamaica here, you know. So you have to trust your doctor. If you want him to do it, you have to trust him. And I didn't regret doing that.
I trust them because they know my complaint. As I tell you, I'm having lupus over 20 years, and they have it under control.
Yes, sometimes you have to make my own medicine, you know, kind of all the while I can go to doctor, you know. Sometimes you have to mix up like or something, you know. But you know me do it now. Make my little medicine. I not tell go around and tell you no lie. Because one time I have a big bump on my foot here, you know. Big bump swell up, you know. And I say, how me I get rid of this bump here now? I mean I love go doctor either, you know. No, I mean I love go doctor. I get this thing then called tuna, you know tuna? I get bitter wood. And I get a little buckle and I cut piece of them and push it down in the buckle. Piece of Single Bible. Beat up ginger. Get piece of garlic, pimento seed. And so I squeeze half and the sibble orange. I not put no water in it. And I put on all those things in the buckle and put to make it steady and drain. So when it drain, throw it in the cup and in the cork and drink it. Right. So when I drink those things after that time, I find out that the bump take time and gone down, a big bump not there again. But I say, what me can doctor myself, man?
I drink bush. I drink soursop leaf. I drink French thyme. I drink mint, ginger. I also use my turmeric. I use the turmeric ginger itself, and I use the powder. Yeah. I drink leaf of life.
When she make the bush tea, give me, I drink it, but I don't really follow up the bush tea. I work on my medication. As I tell you, I'm taking prednisone, chloroquine, and enalapril, and it really helped me.
You doctor yourself every time?
No, not all the while, because when I tell me go tell it and blood come when me do and me have to go doctor. Because I want to frighten me. You understand? Because I don't know if you do what I want, I don't want to do what I not to do. So I go doctor and doctor test me, or you call the prostate. Yeah, and send me go our next doctor to test me pee and me poo. You understand? So when I go them say me have to come back a couple of weeks to get the result and me have to carry back to my doctor. Alright, when I go back to the doctor, where send me go buy a tube. A little tube with a little pint like this. And tell him to squeeze it in my bottom. So that me do. And me get rid of the problem. And me still wait and love that doctor then good.
No, I would not trust another doctor in another country. Only Jamaica. and I believe in them. And because of the help of the Lord, I believe in them.
Some people said it's a miracle. For those who don't have religious faith, they said it's luck. And some said it's just strong perseverance. I personally believe it's a mixture of all.
Sometimes there are days gone by where sometimes I feel like giving up, but I said no, I'm not gonna give up.
You want me to the doctor them now. You have good doctor and you have bad doctor. Like how you have good and bad and everything. But when you see the good one, you will know him. And no doctor can't give me no pill to go try. You have to know, say, the pill is good for your finger, or it good for your eye, or it good for anything. You know, tell me, say, go try this one. I mean, I go work with that one.
The big conversation in this documentary is about people's attitude to research. I wanted to find out, do people in the Caribbean, and in particular Jamaica, believe in research? Do they support it? Do they think it's necessary? Do they think it's something quite dodgy? What do they really think of research?
We carried a health symposium for the diaspora in the UK through 4 churches. Church of God of Prophecy mainly led that initiative. New Testament Church of God, the New Testament Assembly, right? And Bethel United. And out of that, you know, we realized that there really is a distrust, you know, of the British populace, the Jamaican diaspora, the Caribbean diaspora, in terms of how they're treated. The doctors there aren't taught how to treat Caribbean people. You know, like they're looking for colors, like, you know, if you turn black or blue, we have one color. You know what I mean? We don't see those things. We are capable in our setting. So we have made an offer to say, we're willing for people to come here and diversify their skill and learn so that they can go back and be of benefit to that society. We are trying to forge linkages, of course, with researchers in the UK, because we understand that there's a large black population in the UK, our people in the UK, who are suffering from the disease. And I remember one returning resident from the UK, she told me, she said, it was only when I came to Jamaica that I realized that my neighbors' children, what they were suffering from was sickle cell disease.
The patients who come here are actually patients with sickle cell disease. They're also what you'd call patients who don't have any health issues at all. And we're doing probably what we call a phase 1 trial, where they're healthy individuals and want to see what the adverse effects of the drug are and looking at the pharmacodynamics of the drug.
Well, when you go to the doctor, that's the first thing they're going to say. You know, they check you and then they said, well, we're going to research. We're going to see if this will work or that will work. So I think it's important to do research, and I agree with them.
I never went to like no research with them or anything.
If they ask you, would you take part?
Sure, I would take part.
Sickle cell anemia patients, they end up having sickling of their blood cells, and that sickling causes severe pain. And so one of the drugs that they've identified that actually does work in treating sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease is hydroxyurea. And so we've introduced the drug to children ages 2 to 17 to prevent early death. So it is actually showing benefit in extending life.
I don't think the level of research that Jamaica can afford would be the same as the United Kingdom. So I think with better research and better investment into cancer research in Jamaica, then Jamaicans will definitely have the same life expectancy.
I think it's because Jamaica need some more money to run things, you know, because we are short of so many things.
I am Marisa Johnson Howell. I am the Dean of Discipline for Ferncourt High School. My main role is to deal with safety and security of students. So that will encompass discipline as well, how the children behave, how they respond to positive discipline, and because that's the focus, to get them to respond to positive discipline, positive behaviors.
Research is not done for research's sake. Research is done so that we can understand disease. When we understand the disease, then we can develop treatments for those diseases, and then people can get help.
Research has always been a problem with many things in Jamaica. But what I try to do is, what we do in the school, when an incident occurs, we record those numbers. So based on, I do monthly reports, other persons do reports, and based on that we see what challenges and issues are coming out. And out of interview with the children, when they talk to us in the office, then we look at that and we categorize the children and the issues, and then we use that to design whatever programs we're going to have or who we're going to bring into the school to their attention.
We hear from all those people, and we hear what they think about medical research. Is it necessary? Does it really impact lives? We also hear from young people about research. I couldn't leave them out. One young person blew me away with her opinions about research.
So we live in a diverse world. Not everybody is the same. Everybody's body is different. What works for a set of people may not work for another set of people. And so in everything, research is important. It is essential, because how will you know what is good and what is bad? How will you know what will work and what will not work? You have to test, and that's where science comes in as well, because not only do you have to test, but you have to test accurately and safely. You have to make educated guesses, your hypothesis, right? And so that research is essential to discovering medication, antidotes, all of that, and discovering correct medication and antidotes that can work for the masses, the variety of people, because we are just different. What may work for me may not work for someone else.
I don't know how much percentage, probably half of Jamaicans, they do have their idea of thinking, you know, should I or shouldn't I? So I think some people would do. I think probably half of the, you know, half of the population would want to do that.
Men are generally adverse to research. However, most of what CARE does is participant research. So we have patients for our studies, or we have participants, people who sign up. And so the fact that we have been so successful at our research programs and efforts and projects means that people are participating. So I wouldn't say that people basically want to understand. So understanding is key, and we ensure that our participants and our patients, they understand what it is that we want to accomplish through the research that we do. And it's usually research to help them. Our research informs policy. So for example, the Tropical Metabolism Research Unit, we had a malnutrition clinic, which we closed because we no longer have malnourished children, and we were very instrumental in eradicating malnutrition in Jamaica.
So it's not that we don't have the training or the knowledge, but definitely that we lack funding more so than anything else.
We can say we are a trusted researcher. We are trusted researchers for our people wherever they are, whether they're in Jamaica, the Caribbean, the world. The Caribbean Institute for Health Research is committed to doing research, ethical research. You have to give your consent, you're given full explanation, and you're free to decline or not to decline, you know, or to accept. So I would say participate, because it helps, may not help you, but it will help your the future generation.
That new buzzword that permeated our lives across the globe for 2.5 years. We're learning to live with COVID. Apparently it's not over yet, but how did it impact people in the Caribbean, and in particular Jamaica? How do people feel about the vaccine? Did people take up the vaccine, or did they feel forced? We hear some interesting narratives.
I'm O'Neill David Markland. I live in Jamaica. I am a racehorse trainer, plus I'm also a sales representative. I sell candies and just train racehorses. Yes, the pandemic affected me in 2020, and it slowed down business a lot. Plus, I had catch COVID too that time, and I was hospitalized for 11 days at the Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine. They said I had the COVID, which I didn't have any symptom. I went to the hospital. I didn't went to any ventilator or anything like that, but I think I had high blood pressure. That was part of it, because I remember one evening I was coming home from work, and I just couldn't know where I was. My assistant guided me all the way home, and I drove, and I didn't know where I reached. At times I passed my home, I couldn't find it where I lived. So when I went home, eventually I got home. By the help of God, I reached home. I went to the hospital same time. The police escorted me to the hospital, and I was hospitalized for 11 days.
I know COVID was in the island, but like I said, I didn't panic. I didn't frighten about it. I listened to my TV. I listened to what they say you are to do, and I follow directions. And that is how I try to live with COVID. I don't go out, I stay in. If in case I'm going out, I have my sanitizer with me, I have my mask.
I was worried because of my condition. They said I'm supposed to take the vaccine. So I went to my doctor, and the doctor said, yes, you are to take the vaccine. And I did take the vaccine. I am fully immunized.
Oh yes, I did. I had first, second, and booster.
Yes, I will be taking the booster, because they said the booster helps to prevent any occur.
I'm vaccinated twice, 2 times. I took the first dose, second dose, and I did it in April, and the second one in October. I took the AstraZeneca, and I am vaccinated.
I had my 2 COVID vaccinations. The first one, and within the space of 6 weeks' time, I had the second one. I'm not sure of having another one. For as far as I'm concerned, I think they say there's a booster, but my mind is not yet set at that one.
Well, my mom and dad that live in California, in the USA, they have encouraged me to go ahead and take it, because they thought maybe they would have lost me, and they have been vaccinated, and they said, since they are vaccinated, go ahead and take it, because they're not going to do you anything. And I decided that was my decision based on what they tell me.
To be honest, you would have to explain to me, give me a full illustration why I should take the booster.
Once the COVID-19 vaccine came out, there were speculations all over the place. Many persons were saying, it's the mark of the beast, you're going to turn into zombies, there's metal in it. Just so many rumors and so many speculations.
When someone says COVID doesn't exist, I tend to smile. And the inside, because there's a big question mark. So all these people that have died in hospital, in their communities, in nursing home, if there's no such thing as COVID, then please explain what's going on.
I didn't have any negative thought about the vaccine. Never have a negative thought about the vaccine. A lot of people is following the media and all the social media stuff that they don't want to take it and this and that going to happen. I didn't want that to happen. It didn't came into my thought, none at all.
People in Jamaica, people in Australia, people in India, over the world are taking the injection, and some not taking it. It depends on what you think, how you feel about it. Nobody's following one another. I don't believe it. I don't have that belief.
What I did my own research. I did not listen to anybody. I said, let me find out what is in this vaccine, what it's really going to do, and that's how I made my decision. Well, it really wasn't mine, it was really my parents' decision, but still you want to know what's going in your body and what it's going to do to you. The persons around me, I had friends who, they just did not trust it, and they said, no, I'm gonna wait, look what it does to others, and then I'll make my decision whether I'll take it or not. For me, I took it about a year after it was released.
As I said before, for some people, they think if they accept and use the word of these diagnoses, it makes the situation worse. But for me personally, I think when you use the word, share the news, you know, put that awareness out there, it is much better for us as a people and as a generation.
But the word of God said, the Bible says, so thinketh a man, so is he. Each of us go by our mind, our thinking, and our decision. So if my friend decided not to take the vaccination, well, I'll encourage such person, but I can't force them. I can't compel them to do it.
It's a good thing. When you do your research, you find out that this is not going to turn you into a zombie. There's no metal in it, but it is going to improve your immune system if you should be introduced to the virus and fighting that off. And it is what has led to some form of normalcy back in our country. So I'm grateful for it, but information is everywhere. Correct information is important though, and so I encourage persons, go to the World Health Organization website, find it from there, or you can go to the website of the manufacturers of the vaccine and you'll find out exactly what's in it. Just do your research.
So I reserved a special place in this documentary to hear about and from our young people. Very often, we do not speak to our young people about anything. We assume we know what they're thinking. We assume they're not engaged. We assume they don't know what is happening. All of those assumptions are erroneous. We cannot make assumptions about our young people. We cannot assume anything about their thought process because we might just be getting it wrong.
It was challenging for a lot of the students because most of our students come from rural St. Anne, and so they may have Wi-Fi issues, internet issues, you know, all those connectivity problems that would affect teaching and learning online. Plus also it's also new for the teachers. Jamaican teachers are not so used to being online, so that was a whole process in getting them to learn how to do that. It still is a working process in getting there.
For the most part, it made me feel sad because I couldn't see my friends or the school that I went to.
Yes, miss, because sometimes my Wi-Fi and the light trip out and we don't have no internet. Miss, I didn't explain it that good on online. They know I send the work, but it's hard to explain to some people.
It was very hard because my internet wasn't that good. Sometimes my mother had to put on data so I could join school. Most of the time, light report called JPS, I work on a light like every day, and when online now, when the teacher is teaching, it's very hard for me to understand because it's not like we are face to face. Because when we are online, no, teachers like cut the explanation short, so you don't really get to understand the work that I'm doing.
I am currently the Key Club president for my school. I'm in love with my club. I joined just at the age of 12, and from then I have been serving, I have been pulling through for Holy Child. I would say that club at my school is the most envied club. So Key Club is a student-led organization. It is a service club and it's also a social club. So when you go to Key Club, you'll find that you won't find many adults around, but you'll just see students, your regular students who you see every day walking up and down on campus, leading and planning activities and getting everyone involved. So we're a service club, so we give back, and we don't just give back monetarily, but we give of ourselves. We give our service, our talent, our treasure, all of that, as well as we're a very social club. We're very outgoing. So if you're shy from your Step In Key Club and you have been there for like a year, that shell is shattered. That shell is shattered. You will be more outgoing. You will meet a lot of people. You will find things that you not even knew you like because of the people that you meet and the situations that you would have been placed into. I'd say it's the best club that high schools have, and to know that it's not just at the Key Club level, at the high school level, but you have it at the college level, and you have Kiwanis, where when you're an adult working, you can join that as well.
First of all, there was a lot of loss taking place during COVID. Some would have lost parents, and they probably did not get the right help to deal with it. Some of our children were relocated from different communities, so it wasn't just loss due to death. They would have lost their friends, their little network, their neighborhood, and so dealing with that seemed to be a little problematic for some of the students. So we had to work with those students. We did a lot of sessions about grieving in the beginning, before we started face-to-face classes. We have students who we realized that their resilience went very low. And it's quite evident. I mean, problems that usually they be to handle, they tend to have these self-harming tendencies more. That has come up a lot among our students. We see that. They post their feelings all over social media, and so you can easily pick up. Once there's a problem, they can't bother. Everything just Jamaican term, we can't bother. Or they, so they throw around terms that normally adults can't take lightly, like they're going to kill themselves because they don't want to go to school, or they can't bother. They were excited coming out, but once you get back into the classroom, they realize, wait, I really have to sit up for 40 minutes and listen to a teacher try to teach me. Because when you're behind the computer screen at home, they are used to getting up every minute to the bathroom, so they lost that discipline.
So one thing that we recognized from the get-go, that everyone went into isolation. Persons were developing social anxiety, persons were developing signs and symptoms of depression. And so even though we were online, we knew we needed to have that social interaction. Even though we couldn't see each other physically, we could still hear each other. We still participated in events that were online. We still shared our ideas. We talked about what happened, what is to come, what we would do if we were in person. And so we kept it going. We spoke with persons from other schools. We tried to go out. Even though we were restricted, we managed to go to beach cleanups, we managed to paint places, go to greenhouse projects as well. So we pushed the boundaries, you might say, but it definitely helped. Persons once again got out of their shell. Persons were no longer isolated, and they formed friendships, and they formed a bond. That sisterhood was there, that trust was there, to know that, hey, nothing may be going on at school, but Key Club always vibrant.
So we've come to the end of the Primrose Files, where we explored the perspectives of people living in Jamaica on issues around health intervention, research, COVID, trust in clinicians, the cost associated with the care they get in Jamaica, and how that impacts said care. We've heard from researchers. We've heard from people who work with research authorities and found out from them just how much research impacts what they can deliver. We've heard from people who believe wholeheartedly that research is important for looking after their health. We've heard from people who are willing to participate in research, people who have participated in research. But the one thing I will tell you about the people we spoke to in this documentary is that they care about their health. They're not cavalier at all about their health. They actually sit down and do their homework. They do their own research to find out about things that have been researched for them. And that fills me with positivity, because generally speaking, people are not actually disengaged from the whole issue around their health.
Nice. It's nice. She work probably good. Good mechanic.
That, for me, has been the greatest find. That and their attitude to research. The two greatest things from this documentary. We're signing out for now, but I really do hope you learned a lot from it.